I just want to slightly point out. So Peter Thiel is actually part of the descending class. That's what I take out of what you're talking about. That he,
Well, it's
you
interesting.
know,
He obviously as a well, okay, it's complicated, right?
yeah.
Um,
I mean, that might explain why some of his political bets these days seem to be in kind of controlling things rather than growing things.
well, it's complicated. Look, Peter's an old friend and collaborator and investor and so on and things. Okay, I think first of all, he is absolutely built rich as opposed to born rich. So in that sense,
Sure.
he's
Yeah.
pure merit in that sense. Um, I think he looks at it as his responsibility because he immigrated to the U.S. and so on. He looks at it as a responsibility to turn around the ship. Okay, that's what he thinks he's doing, and I understand where that comes from, and I understand different people have different views of how, where the ship is going and how to turn around and so on. But I think ultimately it comes from a good place of the America that he admired that could put a man on the moon. He wants to build a country that's capable of doing that. Okay, one may agree or disagree with his methods, but I think that's where he's coming from. And others may want, the America of the 50s. Paul Krugman actually likes the America of the 50s. He's like, it was very
Very
equal
much so.
socially.
Yeah.
It had
Hmm.
97% tax rates. Other people idealize it for different reasons.
Yeah.
Whereas an alternative view is um, that was great, just like the UK was great, just like Rome was great, just like other empires were great. And you know what? There may be some turnaround that is possible. I cannot fully discount that. But I also see all this stuff happening both internationally and subnationally. I see all these other things that I think, it's probably unlikely that we're going to put together something that looks exactly like what we were born with. Just like, for example, the 20th century did not look like the 1800s of kings and queens. It looked completely different, right? And what does that look like if we were building it from scratch? You would not have I mean, just for example, anything you're building from scratch today, you're building it off of a laptop. You're building it with code.
Hmm.
The way that laws are put together, just as one example, 1,000-page bill that's written at the last minute, and someone slips in an amendment, and that's pushed to 300 million people across the entire country. Anybody who's written any code of any, and then it's tested in production. Okay, anybody who's written
Right.
any code of any kind thinks that's insane. If you have a million-person web service, you test the heck. You have small bits of code, you push them out one at a time, you test whether it works, you gather feedback, and then you have a reversion otherwise, and you do that, right? That's like just one small example of how totally obsolete in many ways the legislating, the operating system, and so on is within the US. And so, therefore, trying to kind of turn that into something that is going to work, maybe it's possible. Good luck to everybody who's trying.
Yeah.
But I think we should also try to build from scratch, and that's what the network state is about.